Hi everyone. Just wanted to share the Studio LM Notebook LM from Google. It's really useful and impressive use of AI technology. To make this quick, basically you're going to learn about how to create your own podcast and how to communicate with this. So I'm going to use a random thing, but it can be done for anything. Ironically, anything that has a bunch of different sources. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So welcome to Notebook LM. It's going to be on this Notebook LM Google URL. Create your own new one here. So you call it, you have to upload a source. And there's a bunch of different ones. You can use a link, website, YouTube. And I've seen a lot of guys use YouTube, but you could actually use anybody's website and talk about it with them about their site. It's actually really quite powerful. But let's just use a YouTube one for now. We can also do a website one later. I'll keep the video a little longer to show it to you how it's done. So I've gonna say YouTube. Create this YouTube here. This is the one I just found. This one is about Japan. So I'm going to show you which one it is. This is Japan's population decrease. So I'm going to copy that URL, copy or share, that is, share, copy, right? And go to the notebook here, click on this and paste it in there, insert. So now it's analyzing it. One thing while it's doing that, I also want you to say that you can actually add sources. So you can have a bunch of these YouTube videos or create your own. Now, this is the really cool part. Just paste some regular old text. So how do you do that? Just in the text. How about be professional, minimize chatter. What else can we do? Like speak with authority. So it's going to actually change that a little bit rather than just having a normal jovial conversation. You could have just kept it really simple, just the actual one source. But if I added this piece of text, now check this out. It actually generates this and gives you some keywords to use for the prompt, which is really great. So minimal chatter. I'm just going to put that in there. And if you wanted to do some more stuff in there, effective speaking, communication, authority, professionalism. So they're going to be less jovial and more professional. So now you go into the generate. This is going to take a few minutes. So I'll talk about it while I was doing that. Instead of pausing the video, you could probably forward in about 2-3 minutes if you want to see it do that. But what I want to talk about is some of the things that I've used this for is actually, is there something to my right? I can't really see. Maybe a fish trying to tickle me. I'm not sure. Anyways, I want to see that I'm going to use this for company documents. So, for example, the company that I work for sends out a newsletter once every quarter, and it's usually about 20 or 30 pages. It's a PDF, and it talks about some of the issues. They try to make it interesting. To be honest with you, I don't know how many of our employees actually read those 30-page documents. But driving to work, if it's a 20, 30-minute drive, probably sometimes longer, most likely, or while you're in the gym, you can listen to it, and it makes it kind of interesting, actually. Now, do we have a studio where somebody's going to read and present that? That's costs money and time. It's unusable. For us, this is actually a perfect solution to put it into a podcast to make it interesting to listen to, and everybody can kind of join into it. So. It's a definitely great use case for our company to be able to do that. Another way of doing it, if you actually if you do add sources and you add something from Drive. So, for example, this is something that can be where it's a technical PDF or for example, this, let's say I want to add with this Japanese population crisis, but I want to keep it within some kind of context that I either paste in myself or something to be done with for example, some kind of a document that has within our company. Let's say it's a sales company that we have products. So it will actually integrate that. So for example, let's say I'm selling big screen TVs, and I use our company that what we sell. So it will actually incorporate two dissimilar pieces of information and put it together. So it will talk about Japanese population crisis and how it can be used with some of the products. Maybe cooking at home more will create tighter bonds, or anything along those lines. So it really is can be quite useful how it does that. Now it's still working here. I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to take, but let's see here. Another thing I want to talk about is you can actually type, so you don't even have to talk to it. You can actually just type questions, and it will put it in there. Uh, the feature that I want to talk about the most is the third one is where you can break the third wall or the fourth wall, I guess they call it, where you can interrupt the podcasters and talk to them about it. So one, you can create it where it's an actual podcast. Download it. It's a 20-minute podcast, and you can disseminate that within the company. Put it in a live stream in a Google Drive, and share it with people that have that link. But you can also have it where within this app you can actually click the button and talk to it. Now that's not available for public use, but this is brand new. This is only like a week old. So Google's actually creating this where they are making it where it's they talk actually to it, and it's a live broadcast, which kind of breaks my mind. It's not a podcast. It's actually like two AIs talking, and they have a script that they're going through, but you can interrupt that script in real time. And that's really having a hard time wrapping my head around that. So I can see having a podcast, having the text, copying, pasting that text, submitting that to an AI, and then asking questions with voice or text. I can easily see that. Not easily, but it's only a year old. But that is a live document. But this thing right now is discussing the document, has created a conversation, and then you can interrupt it and talk about it. It will talk to you about your question, and then it will actually go back to the original list without skipping a beat. It doesn't jump. It really flows into it. It also has guardrails, so if you try and discuss about something else, it catches that. So this is really getting corporate ready. Anyways, I definitely wanted to show this to you. Again, I'm not sure how long this will take. This is a few minutes, but still there. So it got to take a little bit. I did it with a PDF, and that took about 4 minutes. I'm not sure how long I've been going now. What else can I show you guys while we're waiting? Let's see. What can I do this right now? What is this about? Does it answer it? It's about how to communicate professionally. Oh no. So that's actually talking about what I discussed, minimizing chatter. Okay, that's what it's asking about. How has let's this one. How has Japan's population impacted its economy? Oh, it actually, let's see. Well, this is finished now. Um, this is a summary, okay? But so let's listen to the podcast, and then we'll go into interactive mode and actually be able to talk to it. So unfortunately, it starts at the beginning. So
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to Japan to look at their population crisis.
Hey.
We have recent YouTube video and some notes to go off of,
Yeah.
and we want to really understand the human aspect of it
Yeah.
beyond just the numbers.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I think, a lot of times when people hear population crisis, they just think, oh, birth rate's down.
Right.
But in Japan, it's so much more complicated.
Right. It's more than just like fewer babies equals fewer people. But speaking of babies, though, one statistic that really jumped out at me from the research was that in 2022, Japan had its lowest number of births since records began in 1899.
Wow.
so that is podcast goes to 44 seconds, but turn into interactive mode here. Check this out. So it's going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to interrupt it, and I'm going to talk to you about it, something I'll read here, okay? So let's see what it does here. So let's see here. Come on. Let's see. Will it start? It's paused. Why is it not working? This should be.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to Japan to look at their population crisis.
Okay.
And we have a recent YouTube video and some notes to go off of, and we want to really understand the human aspect of it.
Yeah.
Beyond.
So this is talking
just the
about
numbers.
Yeah,
actual.
that's really important because I think a lot of times when
same
people
thing as
hear
before.
population
But let's
crisis, they
join
say,
in
"Oh,
and
birth
see
rate's
what it
down."
says. Okay.
Right.
But in Japan, it's so much more complicated.
Right. It's more than just hey there.
Hey,
Wanna share your
sorry to
thoughts on this?
interrupt. Good morning. Sorry to interrupt, but can I ask? Can you just summarize the last point you have there?
Good morning to you too, and no problem at all.
Yeah, happy to have you chime in.
Okay, so you're asking about the last point we were making, right?
Yeah, that the population crisis in Japan is more than just a birth rate problem.
Right. It's like a whole bunch of things going on at once.
Exactly.
Oh, it
and
didn't-
we're gonna
didn't do
unpack
this.
it all for you.
So it makes you wonder what happened in those 8 years to really accelerate this.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
let's
a great
ask
question,
specifically
and
about
it's
this.
one
How
we'll look at
economic
more in
collapse?
depth as we go through this. But I think even let's hear it.
Yeah, sorry. One more question, but how does this reflect specifically about economic collapse?
Yeah, no problem at all. That's a great question.
Absolutely, it's a really important part of the story, and we're happy you asked.
So you're wondering how this population crisis ties into potential economic collapse, right?
Yeah, because it's not just about fewer people.
Right. It's not just like a social thing.
It's about the very real possibility of economic hardship.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We've mentioned that the birth rate is plummeting,
Yes, and this leads to a rapidly aging population.
which means a shrinking workforce, which we were just about to get into.
Exactly, and that's where the economic implications become very clear.
Because when you have fewer workers, you have reduced productivity.
That translates to lower tax revenues for the government.
And this makes it harder to fund Social Security and healthcare,
Exactly, and those are the very things an aging population needs the most.
which creates a feedback loop.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, how would this compare to the population of, let's say, Korea?
That's a really interesting question, and it's great you're thinking comparatively.
Yeah, it helps to put things into perspective, by looking at other countries.
So while Japan's population is currently around 123 million, South Korea's is closer to 51 million.
Okay, so Japan has more than double the population.
That's right. But here's what's fascinating. South Korea is actually facing a similar demographic crisis.
That's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yes, their birth rate is even lower than Japan's.
Wow, so they have fewer people and even fewer babies.
Exactly, which means they also have a rapidly aging population and shrinking workforce.
So both countries are dealing with this challenge, but at different scales.
Precisely. And both economies are feeling the strain.
Okay, so that's a good point of reference. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, it's a good way to see this isn't a uniquely Japanese
So
problem.
it brought it
Okay,
back.
so where were we?
We were talking about how the birth rate is plummeting.
Right, and experts predict it could.
Okay, so it obviously took a question outside of that, and actually answered it pretty well. I didn't even know about Korea. I must have went to some kind of stats about Korea because it's not in the article. They don't talk about Korea at all, and they compared it in a good way. That's amazing. So obviously, a great way to learn things. I think you guys should be using this. So good luck and enjoy.